as far as Xavier fixing all of the Chiefs' problems, he will fix some of the Chiefs' problems, and I hope Xavier has spent his time not only rehabbing, but watching a ton of Reggie Wayne film. Because I want Xavier to catch the ball and get down. I am, like Reggie Wayne was one of the best ever at, if it is not smooth sailing to the end zone, we are getting down and getting on to the next play. And I think at least early on, that's going to be very important as his shoulder continues to strengthen. Xavier is not going to fix the fact that the Chiefs running backs right now can only run to darkness and not daylight. And this stat right here is the worst stat in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 13 rushes, 123 yards, better than Drake May last year, KW, on rushes. I mean, up with Mike Vick and Randall Cunningham, 9.5 yards per carry. Brew, the Chiefs this year are top 5 in explosive plays in the NFL, which is 20-yard passes or 10-yard runs, because they have 9 10-yard runs. It's all Patrick. Yep. Literally, like that right-hand column does not get fixed by Xavier Worthy. And I also think because of the injury, they are going to be less apt to use Xavier in a way they liked last year, and that they used him in the second play of their season this year, which is an end-around run. And so, no, certainly defense, obviously Worthy's going to have no impact on. And offense, he is going to help. But the running game has to at least have a pulse for the Chiefs' passing offense to fully open up.
Well, the run game is going to be what it is. Like, neither one of them, especially if Pacheco, if this is who he is now after the injury, it's not going to be great. You just hope it can be adequate. But for him, it depends on how they use him. Like, he could help if they use him like they have in the past, he could help the run game on, like you said, end around sweeps, jet sweeps, things like that, which he has done damage on. And he also can run after the catch. But if he's going to be getting down. So a lot of it depends on, are they cautious with him because of the shoulder, or do they just play him the normal way? If they play him the normal way and he's capable of that, he helps a lot. You're right. Even the defense hasn't been as good as last year.
Sure,
it's early, of course, but their scoring defense is the lowest ranked it's been in the league since Mahomes was a rookie. So the defense has to step it up too. The run game, obviously. But if he can if he steps in there and plays like he's not injured, that is huge. They lost by 6 points to the Chargers. They lost by 3 points to the Eagles. He might make a difference. They could be 2-0. Real talk. They could be 2-0 with Xavier Worthy because he stretches the field. He can run, like we said, the jet sweeps. Remember what he became.
Yeah.
His last 3 regular season games, he was averaging 7 catches per game. In the playoffs, he led the playoffs with 19 receptions, almost 300 yards. I get in the Super Bowl, a little bit was after the game was over, but still. The first 2 playoff games, he was great. So he was en route to becoming somewhat of an elite receiver. Yeah.
It's funny. Remember that same energy with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals when T. Higgins was injured, because no one was saying that they could legit have another 3 wins if T. Higgins is there. I said that. I'm consistent. No one offers that to the Philadelphia Eagles when A.J. Brown wasn't playing last year, when he was injured, and when Devontae Smith was injured. They said, what's wrong? You should be able to win without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Come on, you have Saquon Barkley and a great O-line. Weird. Pays to be consistent, guys. Got to be consistent. I do think that the Chiefs are going to be a lot better with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice because, again, I'm consistent. I've said this this whole entire time. The Chiefs have been losing. I said, hey, the fact that you're kind of playing this actually pretty closely and that you're in these games, bode us well, which is why I still have them as a top team. So before any Chiefs comes to me like, you're such a hater, why are you always bringing this up? It's like I literally have the Chiefs as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 top 7 team. Okay, so miss me with the nonsense. But yeah, listen, I don't know why. There's also confusion about how Xavier Worthy and just the passing game in general can help the run game. Of course it can. You guys know we always talk about, oh, the run game sets up the pass game. You know, there's also the philosophy of using the passing game to set up the run game. Like, I don't understand why people are struggling to understand that. Like, Matt LaFleur does that beautifully. You know, especially Shanahan does that beautifully. Like, so you can use the passing game to also set up the run game. Something that the Chiefs are currently struggling to do because everything is struggling right now, and especially the passing game. You know, there's really only a handful of moments that I really remember feeling like, oh yeah. And it was just like when it was actually a couple throws, really, to Travis Kelce. I'm getting rid of the one throw to Hollywood Brown and one throw to Thornton. Like those were just kind of like messy moments at the end of a game. That wasn't, you know, those weren't really there throughout the game in a way. Those were more mistakes than anything else, than just the Chiefs being like a great offense in that moment. So I don't think that that's really an indication. But there was those two moments, the one Kelce touchdown play that he had, as well as the one moment, I think it was against the Philadelphia Eagles, when he was like really wide open in the middle of the field. But then it's just like not followed up. And in years past, you do that, and then that's like, you know, so devastating, because you're like, gosh, how is Kelce so wide open? And then the next play, you're able to do another quick, you know, 4-yard pass, and now it's 2nd and 6, and then now you run the ball, and now it's 3rd and 1, and now Patrick Mahomes kind of has the option to be like, I can do whatever the heck I want, and now you're like, oh man, are they going to run for the first down, or is, you know, Patrick Mahomes going to let it rip? Like there was just kind of this feeling of like, oh man, what's going to happen here? And that's not the situation that they've been able to reliably find themselves in with any degree of regularity. You have a big Kelce chunk play, and you're like, all right, that's great. And then now there's an incompletion, and now it's 2nd and 10, and you're like, now you try to run the ball, and now it's 3rd and 8, and now you're like, all right, Patrick Mahomes is definitely going to throw the ball here. It just changes the flow of everything. It changes the rhythm of the play, calling that Andy Reid wants to get involved with, and what he wants to do with Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, asking this question, will he fix all the Chiefs' problems? That's already a question that is set up to be, like, obviously not right. Like, they asked this question knowing, because who could say is Worthy going to fix all the problem? That doesn't make no player fixes all the problems, no matter who you are. Whether you're Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, so the question itself is obviously incredibly flawed and just absurd to begin with. But he will improve this team significantly and fix a lot of the problems. Do you just add Xavier Worthy and now you're instantly just this amazing, dominant, unleashed team? Number. But what I don't get is people that are trying to argue that if you add an Xavier Worthy or you add a Rashid Rice, that your team is not somehow better. Like, that just does not make any sense. You can't add better players. You can't, think about what we talked about all this time, where we're saying, oh, this team is better than that team. This team has better reception. Oh, the Eagles beat, Jalen Hurts beat Dak Prescott, but, he has better receivers. He has a better defense. He has a better O-linear. Oh, Stafford has more touchdown passes than Kyler Murray. It's like, yeah, but he's got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Like, if you give Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to Kyler Murray, and he would throw for that, like, we have those conversations all the time. And I'm purposely using random quarterbacks to not make it Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow, whatever. But even that is a common conversation. Oh, look how many passing touchdowns and passing yards Joe Burrow had. And they're like, well, he's got Jamar, Jason T. Higgins, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that. And it's like, those are all actually, valid arguments to a degree. But then we kind of take it to the extreme. And we take it to the extreme in both directions, where one people say, oh, Patrick Mahomes doesn't need great weapons. He's great, and stop trying to elevate those weapons. And it's like, okay, well then when he struggles, you say, yeah, but like, what do you want him to do? He doesn't have any pieces. But then in the same conversation, it's, yeah, adding Xavier Worthy and Rashid Rice won't improve this team. It's like, how can all of these things be true and none of these things be true at the same time? It just becomes such a mess, because we collectively cannot decide when the roster matters around you. We just can't. It's just there. It's just such a struggle to accept that pieces around you matter. There are definitely people that just want to say Patrick Mahomes is just not good right now, and this Kansas City Chiefs team is just not good right now. Let's just say that's true. Doesn't adding players then make you better? Or do you think that you could put Patrick Mahomes? Do you think the passing game wouldn't change if right now this team had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown? Would this passing game not change at all? It would just be not good. Like, who in their right mind would ever believe that? So it's got to be a spectrum where we know adding those players would make a huge impact. They have to. They have to. There's just no way they can't. But now we're saying that adding an Xavier Worthy and then, eventually Rashid Rice, that won't have an impact. Again, I'm not telling you that it now automatically makes the Chiefs the #1 team and now they're going to be undefeated, but like there's no room for improvement when adding a better player on your team. If adding better players on your team and having them actually on the field doesn't make you better, then what makes you better then? Why do people win? Why are teams better than other teams? Why do we pay players hundreds of millions of dollars? That's what I'm just struggling to grasp in this moment. And this is why you have to be consistent. This is why you have to offer some of the excuses to Joe Byrne, like, yeah, he had Jamar Chase. That's great. But he had a terrible O-line and a terrible defense, and T. Higgins missed a third of the season, where there were games that clearly if T. Higgins was there, there's a great reason to believe that they win another 2 games. Oh, lo and behold, now they're in the playoffs. Okay, there you go. So maybe it's not fair to lump it all on Joe Burrow as to why they're not winning these games or not making the playoffs. And again, Nick Wright blasted Joe Burrow for it, and yet defending Patrick Mahomes here, that's asymmetrical. That's not being consistent. Being consistent is giving the benefit of the doubt of these situations, whether it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. And again, it's not all or nothing. It's not saying that you still shouldn't be able to find ways to win games or that you could only win with great receivers, or when you have great receivers, the only reason why you're winning is because of those great receivers. It all depends on the situation. It all depends on the game. And a lot of times it can be just game to game, moment to moment, drive to drive. Like it's not always all or nothing, one or the other. In some situations you have great receivers, but the quarterback deserves all the praise in the entire world. In other situations, it's like, nah, man, like it was just easy for you. In that game, you just had to throw it up and it was just the receivers doing all the rest of the work. Or it's the coach scheming these guys wide open. You know what? Whatever it may be, it's just moment to moment play, season to season, game to game. But I feel as though we've lost that nuance in every direction, quite frankly, in every direction, when having this discussion. So, which then just makes it messier, because when I'm trying to have a conversation like this, it's always just like, well, what I always say, it's like, what rules are we playing by today then? It's like, what are the rules that we're going off of now, right? Like what needs to be true to be able to have this conversation? Because if you don't want to give any of these other quarterbacks the benefit of the doubt, like we just heard Brew do about saying, hey, if Xavier Worthy was here, then they should, they could be 2-0. It's like, well, then you better have that exact take for Joe Burrow. You absolutely positively better have that exact take. You better have that take for Lamar Jackson when Zay fell. His #1 wide receiver was gone in the playoffs against the Buffalo Bills. You better have that take. You absolutely better have that take. And you better have that take for Josh Allen when Diggs is dropping 60-yard passes. They're hitting his hands. What good is a wide receiver if you're not catching the ball? But it makes some people uncomfortable. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, and the potential to fix all of the Chiefs' problems and Mahomes' problems, I guess, for that matter? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.